If you're competing on price, you have already lost, unless you're Walmart. I'm here today with Chris from Fifth Element Inc., Las Vegas. He's been in the tattoo industry a long time. He has a very unique story, but we're here to talk about his business and what's going on and how I can help him. You're from South Central LA. Give me your origin story of becoming a tattoo artist.
Well, I originally got a tattoo as a youngster, way before I was able to legally. But I ended up getting a pretty bad tattoo, and I thought in my head that I could probably do a better job. So I decided to give a shot at it and try to do it myself. And here I am today.
So here what we're trying to do is actually fix what's broken. So we're going to fix what's broken, fix the foundation, scale, and then dominate the industry. And one thing we're going to talk about it in my initial discussions and getting prepared for this, Chris was very good about helping me understand he's not a tattoo artist because tattoo art it's a commodity these days. He has high people at the top spending thousands of dollars in adverts. And then he also has the kitchen magician who is doing this for bare bottom pricing. So we're going through so many different scenarios and we wanted to go through these. So with that being the case, we're going to apply what we call the Brockish framework to this block. So Chris, you mentioned to me that, your average rate, which we talked about, is for a half day worth of work, $800, for a full day worth of work, $1,500. But you have a lot of people trying to discount. How do you handle customers that want to negotiate the rate? Well, what's your process today?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm always open to negotiation if it makes sense. I mean, I just, keep my options open. I guess you could say. I assess everybody's financial, problems, and if I feel like I can help them out, I'll definitely help them out. But if I just feel like they're trying to get a good deal and undercut me for what I can do, then I don't think that's my client, and I'll just pass them up or maybe give them to an apprentice or something. Okay. So, I mean, I have different tiers though of pricing and how I deal with it.
The pricing I said was your pricing, which is a premium. You've had how many years of experience?
At least over 2-3 decades, I could say 3 decades, but I'm going to go.
You don't look 3 decades in the business there.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Maybe your go-to if you were.
I started in 1995. That's quite a while.
Okay. So with that, why do you think, customers haggle sometimes when they don't see the value? And sometimes that value is not seen, not because you don't do good work, because of the kitchen magicians. And so one thing I wanted to talk about was, instead of haggling over the price, could you change the discussion from price to scope? For example, you go back and forth a couple times. And what if you went there and said, okay, we're going to do this, but if you want, let's say $300 discounts, let's say $1,200, we're going to have to change the scope after the original design. So there, you're not decreasing their value. You're just changing the scope and helping them understand that your value is in your art and the time it's going to take, not just, hey, you can discount me again. Because once you go down that path, they're always going to want a discount.
Absolutely.
And this is going to stop the price shops, because then you're going to say, listen, if you want cheaper, we could go down to, you could go down this. The other way to do it is saying, hey, if you want this, I suggest I have apprentices. They've had so many years of experience. They're going to be less, but they're under my tutelage. And that's the way I would reframe it. So you're not just saying, hey, it's not that I want a cheaper price. Everybody has a financial thought story.
Yes.
I feel that all the time. It's also a game of liar's poker.
Yes, absolutely. And I was going to bring that up too, because there's people who just feel like they're master negotiators and try their hand.
But I think when you say, hey, if you want a lower price, let's change the scope.
Yeah.
My price is for these. I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to do it personally. I'm going to do this. But if you want to change the scope, how about push it back to them and saying, okay, you bring in the design, you refine that. and we can recreate it, but that's going to save me time. So what you're signaling there is that my time has value.
Well, I do that now.
Great. How do you do it?
Just exactly what you said. So I will, first of all, I'll give them a couple options. And if in the conversation, I can tell that I may be losing them, I'll ask them if they have a budget. As simple as that. Like, let's cut to the chase, because, they're, in the end, that's what it's going to come down to is the cost. I can't do anything about how long it takes, and I can't do anything about the pain, but the cost is where I have the power.
But the cost and also your artist,
Yes.
because it's the intricate designs, it's getting to know the customer, that personal touch that makes it unique.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of people, not to cut you off, but a lot of people don't understand that I'm going to give them more than they expected, hopefully, in a positive way. And like, say you book me for a half a day and things are looking, are going pretty well. You're handling it pretty good. And I don't have nobody after you. I might give you another hour or so.
Yeah.
Or decide to just keep working until you can't take it. It just all depends on the time and what's going on. So as much as they might think I charge, they're always winning. My customers are always winning because my customers are first.
Yeah.
I'm no one without them. Crack, y'all know. Otherwise, I'm drawing on fake skin and paper. You see?
And that's not profitable.
Not at all.
Iggy's loins, I think the other thing to take a look is, you have your set rates, you have your thing. How often do you have to go back and forth with the customer? Let's say they come in for a half day worth of work. You were telling me it used to take 5 or 6 emails or instant messages.
Yeah, or text. Yeah, about 3 to 5 before I know if I landed them or not.
So how do people handle the choices? Because there's so many choices when it comes to tattooing. Not only the artist, but what the design wants. How take you through the process of helping a person get the design that's for them.
Well, a lot of it is me picking their brain.
Okay. And how do you help them get through that choices? Because there's so many.
There's so many. So one, my typical text will be like, if, of course they text me and say, I've heard of you, or I'm interested in getting a tattoo. And then my response is, yeah, great. I'd love to work with you. Send me some images of what you had in mind. And usually they'll send me an image or two. And then I say, my second reply is this what you're looking for? Or is there something like this you're looking for? And how much artistic freedom do I have? Now, if they say, I want it just like this and that, then I just say where and what size. So once I find out the size and the location that we're doing the tattoo in, I kind of price it in that from that information. Because if it's a neck tattoo, a simple name, like here we're doing a name on your arm, it's going to be a lot less cost than it would be on a harder area like the neck or so.
Evolves.
Yeah. And then, places like hands, faces, and necks are always, and anything below the waist is always an upcharge because of placement and difficulty.
Okay, great. So one thing I want you to consider is you go back and forth a couple times and you ask them, one thing we talk about in business is called friction. Friction is, and Amazon was a king of that. That's why they patented the one button, the one click checkout. You don't want to click 5 or 6 times. You don't want to do all this. But one thing I want you to consider is you have a website, but I think what we could take a look at is embedding a link to a form. And in that form, it asks these simple questions. What is the location you want? What's your budget? What are you looking for? Do you have the art? Do not have the. So that way, when that comes in, And the key is that you'll be getting an email right away or a text, because typically people want to be responded to within. You'll have a greater chance of success closing a client when you are in within 10 minutes of them sending in the form. But if they call you, talk to you, say, listen, just send out this form, because then you can capture their email address so you can put them on your email lists. You could also have these weed out questions. So if they're a tire kicker, we could always put a weed out question like budget 500 or less than 500. If it's less than 500, I would then give that over to your apprentice to have them call them and talk with them and say, hey, if you're in this range, this is who it is. This is what I'm doing, because you want to free up your time to doing the bigger work. And that way it goes, and we put the logic in there, like if it's only a half an arm, they have to design, it goes to this artist or it goes to the apprentice. If they want a full day worth of work, it's automatically coming to you, and then you can figure out, do I want to do this? Do I farm this out to my other techs? And that way you're saving your time, because time is the one commodity that's fine. So we talked about tattoo artists. One thing, let's talk about the transformations that you do. You have a lot of customers that you have a unique skill set with, mommy makeovers or scars. What makes you successful at doing that?
I'm thinking maybe just my experience and my eye for aesthetics.
And when women come in and have a mommy makeover, for those guys that don't understand, they've had babies or weight loss, and it's doing basically what you used to call a tummy tuck. So you're going to have a scar almost a long way around the belly. But then, now that you have a better looking body, you want to show off the body, but you don't want that ugly scar to. So how do you approach a customer with that? Because I'm sure there's nervousness, there's lack of confidence. How do you take a customer through that process?
Well, that one takes a lot of back and forth.
Okay.
That one takes a little bit more personalization, and I try to really make them understand that I'm kind of camouflaging. I'm not doing magic. I'm not doing a surgery. I'm simply masking or camouflaging the scars that are there. So once they understand that, then we can move forward. But if they feel like once I do this tattoo, they're never going to see that scar, or they're never going to feel insecure or whatever, I have nothing to do with that.
Insecure, only they can feel less insecure, but
Yes, of course they're beautifying their body and modifying it to look aesthetically better. In turn, they're supposed to be a little bit more confident. But I'm here to help all of that.
those are more high value clients, because if you're getting a tummy tuck right now, the average price in the US, when I looked it up, these mommy makeovers running about $10,000, you're paying cash out of pocket. So $1,500 is nothing compared to, and let's say it's a full day of work. It could be more, I realize that, but that's nothing. They've already paid for this, and now it's the next step in it. So one thing I want to talk about is something we talk about in business school. We say position, which is basically what makes you unique. You want to become a monopoly of one. You want to own this content. You want to own a category. And I call it a compelling market edge, what's your edge in the marketplace and what's going to compel a person to buy. Right now, your website is a great brochure, but it's not a sales portal where people are going to come there. And I have what's called a grunt test. You look at a website, and within 3 seconds, you know exactly what they're. You're answering questions that they don't even know to ask. And one thing I want you to consider is taking a look at your website. You have really 3 different products. One product is transformation by covering up scars. You're a transformation artist. You're helping these people deal with something they might not be confident about or a birthmark and transforming them. The second one, and looking at some of the stuff you've done, you help people discover their own personal brand and you put that on their skin, which again is a transformation. So one of the things I want to dwell on, and we'll work on more offline, is really honing in that you're not a tattoo artist, you're a transformation specialist. And that might be the wrong word, but you got to own that transformation category. we need to get the message out through social media, through the site, that when someone looks at it like a mom who's having a makeover, when she's deciding about this, the next step is, hey, I need to make an appointment with Chris after the healing's done, because this is what the next step is going to be. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, that's my job. That's what I love to do. And I love to help people feel better. And, this is different levels too. Cause I mean, I've tattooed on what society will call a nerd.
Yeah.
And next time I see him, he's a stud. He got this tattoo. He got a new confidence, and he drinks sock powder, and it's a conversation piece, So yes, changing lives. That's what we do here. And that's what I've noticed that tattoos have done for a lot of people.
Okay. So I think that's one thing on the website, and even how we talk to customers is really focusing on the transformation that you provide. Okay. So we need to work on a position statement, or I say compelling market edge statement. Sometimes you hear me refer to it as CME. We're going to work on that for you. And we'll show people at the end when we do it, what I think it should be. But that we go back and forth, and that's included in the podcast. I just want to remind everybody, the podcast, I don't charge for the podcast, and I'm actually paying for this work. It is not free. I didn't ask for any discounts. It's just the way we do things. So let's go down. Part of the tattoo business is that you have artists that work here that rent a space.
Yeah, booth renters.
Booth renters. What has been your experience with booth renters? How do you keep them, or there's a lot of turnover? How many booth renters will you deal with because you have what, five stalls?
Yeah. I have 5 booths, yeah.
5 booths. So that means you have space up to 4 other artists.
Yeah.
And what's your turnover like on booth renters?
It's a pretty high turnover, but I actually like booth rents a little better than percentage, because percentage, there's a lot of ways that dishonest stuff can happen.
Yeah.
And once, the trust is gone, there's no point in having people around.
And plus, they could do a lot of dishonest things, and that's wasted space that you could have another artist.
Absolutely.
Okay. Why do you think they leak? What have they told you, and what do you think the truth is?
I mean, it varies. So I've been around this industry so long that I've seen other shops maybe solicit an artist, boost him up, boost his head up, make him think that he's somebody he's not, get him, use him up, and then all of a sudden he's in the same position, just in another shop. So I've seen that happen, but also I've seen where people are just not cut out to be independent. They've been doing tattoos for so long, working a percentage shop. They feel like now it's time to, take the next step and go independent, or at the least booth rent. Because as a booth renter, you are a private contractor now. So you're all your own entity within an entity.
Correct.
So that being said, you got to do your own marketing. You're pretty much your own person. But working at a street shop, you're usually getting walk-ins, or you usually have.
What's the typical percentage in a street shop when they're doing it by commission?
There's typical is 30 to 50%.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's
they have to pay that no matter if they get clients or
street shops. You don't do no marketing most of the time.
Oh, it's the street shop marketing.
Yes.
Here in a booth rental, marketing's up to them.
Yes.
But if I understand the business, if a client comes in and from your marketing or your promotion, and you can't do them, and they go to that, you do get a commitment.
Then I will, yes, I'll subcontract it out. Yes.
Subcontracted out. Okay. So one of the things, and I was thinking about, because this is a common conundrum. It's in the beauty industry with people cutting the hair, different things. They rent out the space. One of the things that I think, if we can transform the website so you're attracting the right set of customers, We can also put different artist pages on there and use that as a marketing engine to showcase their work, highlight it. But if we start getting the customer pull effect where we're doing the social media, I think they're going to want to stay more because they're going to see the work coming in. They're going to not have to do as much in marketing. Or if you have the marketing machine saying, hey, if you want to come here and booth rent, part of the booth rent fee is you go work with this company. It's, they'll give you so much time, but they will put you on the website, do this. You need to give them X, Y, Z. We'll be efficient with your time. But that way you're taking that burden of marketing away from them and having so that you control that promotion. And here's the thing. Once they're on their website, that is your images. If they want to go do their own thing, they'd have to really start that anew. And I don't mean to be that we want to be mean or negative. It's just, how do we provide value so that you get longevity in the booth renters? Because the more longevity you have, the more clientele and the repeat clientele they have come in and do it.
Yeah.
So it's something that working with, if we can get the websites past the grunt tests, then it's how do we help so they can promote, and we have the methodologies that they can self-promote on their social media, on their pics, so that people see, hey, they're an artist at Fifth Element Eat in Las Vegas. That's how to get it done. So it's just something else to consider.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then if you are really selling transformations, people that are going to come in and get a 1,500 get the all day thing, what artist doesn't want to spend a good day earning keep and doing amazing transformations, taking pictures of it, and then showing people what they've done. And that just helps build. You want this engine to be built there.
Okay. So I feel like, it's definitely a good strategy.
Well, and I think also within that strategy is that every single artist wants their own market edge. Even though they might be a part of Fifth Element Inc., it's, what are they? Are they known for their artistry? Are they all known for the realistic designs? People have a picture of somebody, a loved one, and they come in and do it. So I think it's really about helping the artist learn marketing. But a lot of people get confused with marketing. Marketing is four main things. Keep harping on this: product, price, placement, and promotion. The placement is here at Element E. You would control the promotion. The artist controls their pricing, but then we help them brand the product, brand themselves, because everybody needs that market edge. As part of you're a transformation specialist. They could be like one of your artists I saw the other day. Oh my, the Lego Stormtrooper holding a cocktail.
Yes.
That's something unique. People want to individualize. They don't want everything to be the same.
No. And that's what we like to do here is customize everything that you give us. We're going to change it to where it's your piece.
One thing I also noticed is that when I put in Fifth Element LV into started searching, there are a lot of Fifth Element tattoo shops around.
Yes.
There's a big one in Missouri. I don't think there's anyone here in Vegas. How do you ever have that confusion happen?
Yes, that's why I had to put LV behind it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I actually had a problem getting a email, so that's why it's Fifth Element Tattoo on there instead of Fifth Element Inc. LV.
Because someone owns that domain. Okay. That can cause some confusion. We might want to look at and go into Icon, which is the naming, and try to figure out a name that's going to work for you that still keeps Fifth Element. I don't want that you have equity in that brand, but there might be different things that I could work at. So I'm going to do that due diligence for you and take a look so that, changing the website's not bad, because we can always put redirect links to the new website you have with your company. So that's something else to consider, because, Gmail's good, but especially if you're going out for higher end clients, they want a more professional shop. So they want Chris at Fifth Element, blah, blah, blah. So there's different ways that you can do this very cost effectively, like through Google. The big thing is getting the business names. Here's another thing I want to tell everybody. Never, ever let a marketing agency pay that money and do the name. because then they are the owner in that site. And I've seen people held hostage on them. So that's where if you have anybody ever come into you and say, oh yeah, I'll just go get the name for you, don't do it. I've helped plenty of people out with this. You want to own that, because once you own it, if they go to try to trademark that, they can, unless you are the owner of that.
Absolutely.
So it's just solid business sense. And getting a trademark is not a bad idea. It's going to cost you about $750. You can do it yourself. There's this thing called AI where you can go in and say, how do I trademark my own thing? I'll give you all the steps. I'm always happy to show you how to do it yourself. I will guide anybody through that process, complimentary, but don't ever do me. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about booth renters. We've talked about transformation. Now let's talk about some of the shops here. You got bigger shops here. They do amazing ads.
Yes.
And then you have the kitchen magicians that are at the bottom end. So we're going to talk about promotionally. When you've seen the ads for tattoo, what are they spending the ads on? What are they promoting? Just shop? Are they promoting artistry? What do they do? What have you seen?
I've seen both. I've seen shops promote their shops, and those shops are pretty much percentage shops. Then you have people like my artists here who have booths, and they'll promote their page, their Instagram, which is their portfolio pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have both. You have, with me, I'm actually in the position of both, because I started off as a booth renter, so I have my page, and then now I'm a shop owner, so now I have that. So I'm kind of torn, because I'm trying to build my personal one, but my tattoo shop one, I don't have any percentage workers. So it's not like I'm promoting my shop. Okay. Does that make